So I think we'll just go ahead and introduce the class that we're going to have that'll go a day or two or however long it goes. In the Dropbox above, there is a document that Binduji put together with the entire Nasadeeya Sukta, and it explains a little at the start. It's really beautifully put together, and it starts with the Sanskrit and then goes through somewhat of a word by word translation, and then there, for each of the verses, there's a final English translation. And I found it, as someone with a lot less traditional background than some of you, I found it very, very beautiful that I could actually go back and contemplate some of the words and see the full translation. So anyway, I went on about that because I'm so appreciative of that document that is in the Dropbox above. So, just to say that document's up there. It'll be the usual format where Binduji will speak and we'll turn off hand raising and chat, and then we'll turn it on and have discussion, and Bindu will just go at whatever pace he wants, but we're anticipating probably Friday or maybe more. We'll just see. So again, thank you everybody, and especially Binduji. Goes on the heels. I will say, for people who are listening to the replay, also there was a class, classes until the last one or so. There were several where Binduji was going through that dialogue with Shankara and the student, and there was a lot of discussion about apparent versus intended meaning. And I just think that going through a poetic hymn like this, right after those classes, I'm hoping that we can all go deeper into really learning how to see intended meaning. At least that's my take. Okay, thank you. I'll be quiet now. Binduji, go ahead.
Thank you, Artemisia. Namaste and welcome to all. Let me start and then talk about it, talk about it and then start. Om Namo Brahmadibhyo Brahma Vidya Sampradaya Kartrubhyo Vamsharishibhyo Mahadbhyo Namo Gurubhyaha Sadashiva Samarambam Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryandam Vande Guru Paramparam Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatpada Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutrabhashya Kridau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murtibeda Vibhagine Vyomavad Vyaptadehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Om Shri Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. सृष्टिः अर्वादेव अस्य विसर्जनाय अथाको वेदयतः बभूव इयं विसृष्टिर्यतः बभूव यदि वादते यदि वाना यो अस्याध्यक्ष परमे व्योमन् सो अङ्गवेद यदि वानवेद ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः. Are you actually speaking? I'm sweating in my body because I really think why I did commit to do the Nasadeeya Suktam, because there are more than 1,000 commentaries or translations available in the internet, and what to say about that has not been made available in the internet or made available to the digital world. That being the background of Nasadeeya Suktam, I need to tell you all that these 7 mantras of Rigveda, which forms the 10th mandala and 129th hymn with the 7 mantras 1 to 7, has been and is the most intriguing mantras of Rigveda, which is the oldest scripture available in the world. Right from scientists to philosophers, everybody has taken their own chances to crack the meaning of these mantras. Yet, nobody has been able to claim that my commentary is the best or my commentary is the correct answer, because the Sanskrit being such a language, it has gone its own depth, and also, as I said in the Aitri Upanishad, you can have the Vivakshitartham or Pratiyamanartham, or apparent meaning and the intended meaning. To make things complicated, the compound word which can be broken up without making grammatical mistake in these 7 mantras are innumerable. Therefore, people have been breaking it up at their own intuitions or meanings which they think that they are seeing it in it. So I was confused as to what should be my approach to explain this. The funniest part is that even though these 7 mantras are the pinnacle of what you call the brain capacity of human beings, this seven mantra do not qualify for the name Upanishad. The simple reason is that this doesn't talk about Brahman or Atman in the mantra by using any of the word Brahman or Atman in the mantra. Therefore, this doesn't get the name Upanishad. But these 7 mantras are deeper than any Upanishad which we can think about. Therefore, the only original commentary which we can access in the tradition is that of Sayanacharya, who wrote the commentary on the Rig Veda. And I am indebted to Swami Subodhananda Saraswati of Arsha Vidyapita, whose in a commentary I have copied for the purpose of, explanation of the mantras in the handout which I have made. The word-to-word translation, I have taken it based on what could be the best possible available, because each of the word has got more than 7 to 10 meanings available in the dictionary itself. That is the apparent meaning. Not to talk about the intended meaning. The intended meaning depends upon the context or the nature of explanation one want to do it. So these things put me in a very predicament, saying that will I be able to do a justice to the mantras, or will I be confusing my listeners, or what should be the path I should take so that I do justice and I don't confuse you all. Therefore, I depend upon the commentary of Subodhananda, who has in turn used Sayanacharya's Bhashya. So the English translation is a traditional translation. But if you go to the internet, there are translations available by Griffith onwards, many other people in the olden days from the 14th century, 15th century onwards, which are available. They are all doing justice to the words, what they learned from Sanskrit literature and what Sanskrit they learned. They are not wrong. But at the same time, there are scientists who have learned Sanskrit, who have compared this as something before Big Bang and written based on their, ideas in which they thought that this will be a better meaning. I'm not going to touch upon all those things because then there is no limit to the explanation. Why I did Nasadeeya Suktam now is for the very purpose that it talks about creation. We saw in the Aitreya Upanishad creation being described, Atma as the one which becomes the Hiranyagarbha, Virat, Prajapati, etc., which was Sadevam Ekam Agre Asit. That alone was there. So the word Atma was used. In this, there is no word Atma is used. Neither the word Brahman is used. So whether it is talking about Brahman or Atman, anybody's guess. Sayanacharya, who wrote the Bhashya for this, has taken it as an event in the cycle of dissolution and creation as his theme. And he concludes or he writes this entire meaning based on, at the time of dissolution, what could have been the position and how the creation came thereafter is how he has commented upon. But even in the traditional circles, people have deviated from that and gone towards Brahman and Atman or beyond Brahman and Atman. So what I am going to do is, first I will go by the word by word meaning. The meaning given by Sayanacharya, which has been used by Swami Subodhananda Saraswati for the translation, And then we'll come back to the mantra. And based on all that what we studied in the Upanishads, were creation and before creation, or our personal experiences, all those things can be touched upon. And then I leave for each one of you to delve deep into your bosom and try to find your own meaning. Because my meaning need not be the right one. What meaning you can feel as yours, which touches your heart, should be the way in which you should look at it. The tradition is one side, that we are not going to deviate from that, but there is something called what it matters to you and me as individuals. That matters to us. So we need to go within ourselves to find how did the creation for me appear. Because obviously this is written by somebody, or somebody uttered these mantras, to whom the creation is what felt to him. He has uttered it in the form of 7 mantras. So since these mantras are in Sanskrit, it will not be easy for all of us to think in the same direction or the same way. So that's why I will analyze whatever possible with my little knowledge of Sanskrit and the Upanishads, how we should be able to look at it, keeping aside the tradition one side and our personal experience on other side. This is the way in which I intend to go about. If any of you have a better suggestion, after the class is over, when we do this Q&A, you can come up and do some, help to me by giving some suggestion. But if you think that, no, you would like to do it yourself in your own mind, that is also welcome for me. Because ultimately, it should matter to you. With that, let me try to do what is possible from my little knowledge so that this 7 mantras make sense to you. As the name Nasadeeya Suktam has come from, Suktam means basically is the mantras. Nasadeeya is based on the first word of the mantra, of the first mantra, because of which the name has come. Sukta means a hymn, and Ekonatrimshad Uttarashatam Suktam means it is the 129th hymn. This has been attributed to Rishi Saptacharyasya Suktasya Parameshti Prajapati Rishi. So Parameshti Prajapati is the name of the Rishi who uttered these mantras. And he has propitiated his Devata in the mind, Bhavavrittam Devata. This is a Vedic Devata. So we don't find the name in the normal Puranas or our latest literature or Shastras or Smritis. So is related to creation of cosmology, and the hymn is dedicated to him. And then there is the Chanda. Chandas is basically the meter in which the mantras have been sung. You heard the original mantra being sung by Pandits who are experts in chanting the mantra. I'll be playing this mantra the beginning of the class so that, you get a feel of the mantras before we start the class. It is in the Trishtup Chanda. Trishtup Chandra is a meter with 4 padas. The mantras, each mantra is being divided into 4 padas, mean 4 quarters, and each quarter has got 11 syllables. So that is how the Trishtup Chanda has been defined as. So there is a Chandas is a Shastra by itself, is a science of, meter, poetical meter is there. There are more than 36 odd meters which have been known today. How many have been lost, we do have no idea. So Bhagavad Gita has got its own, and every mantra has got its own meter in which it has to be sung. And if you look at the Sanskrit one which is in the bold, you will find there is a vertical line in the top, there is a horizontal line at the bottom. So these are all notations for those who know the chanting. So that the vertical line on the top denotes that particular utterance of the portion of the mantra should be on a higher note, and the horizontal bottom one should be the one which is on the lower note. Udata, Anudata, Swarita. These are the 3 Sanskrit names for it, based on which the chanting is being defined. And it has to be, every mantra has got a definite way in which it has to be chanted. Then only the prana, when we chant, the breath, we do that, synchronizes with the mantra and invokes the devata which is meant for the mantra. And it is also does the prana yama for the measurement of the prana, so that you don't become breathless when you chant. If you do not follow this pattern, you can become breathless and you may break a word in an unwanted portion where the meaning of the word will become different. And when the meaning of the word becomes different, there is a chance that instead of asking for a boon, you will be asking for a curse. An example is there in Indro Shatru Vruddhaswa. There is a mantra like that. Instead of becoming, the person on whose the mantra was being chanted, instead of becoming he is a Shatru to Indra, his Shatru became Indra, and Indra became more powerful. So that is a story which is different from this one. But the basic thing is that these inundations which is given in the top and the bottom are for the purpose that you don't become breathless in the chanting and you don't break it in a unwanted place, giving rise to a undesirable meaning. I am not an expert in the chanting, therefore I will read it in plain Sanskrit first, and then we can go out. The first mantra is like that. Nasadasin no sadasin tadanim nasidrajo na vyoma paro yat kimavariva kumah kasya sharman ambak kimah si gahanam gabiram. Now, if you break it, it is na asat asit. No sat asit. That is na again becomes no. That is na sat asat asit. Na sat asit. Tadanim. Na asit rajaha. Na vyoma paraha yat. Kim avariva kuha kasya sharman amba kim asit gahanam gabiram. These are the words in it. So, na asat asit. Na means neither or nor. Asat means non-existence. Asid means existed. So, na asat asid means the non-existence did not exist. Na sat asid. Then the question will be, did sat exist? No, that is not. Nor did sat asid. Nor did sat exist. Tadanim. Now, in Sanskrit, the beauty is that you can keep words to meet the poetical meters, but when you make it into a prose order, what we call it as Anvaya, these words have to be relocated to different places. Then only the meaning will come perfect in the prose order. But in the metrical, it can be anywhere, and then you will not be able to, if you don't do that, what happens is that you will get a different meaning. This is why many of the people have made mistakes also. So tadanim means then or before that, or it can be any meaning. There are many meanings for it, which is at that time, or it can be then. So depends upon what you want, what one wants to use it. So I have used it as then, based on the translation which has been given. Na asid rajaha. Then the second quarter of the first line is na asid rajaha na vyoma parahayat. So na asid. Asid means again existed. Rajaha means it can be the ethereal spaces or the intervening lokas of between now and here, between our experience and other lokas. There are 14 lokas. So it can be interpreted as lokas also, or ethereal spaces, or raja is also can be a meaning of for dust particles. But I have not taken those meanings here. Na vyoma paro yat. Whatever is beyond, para means beyond, the atmosphere. These lokas or these worlds or celestial spaces, they are not even within the atmosphere, they are beyond that. So don't think that the lokas means they are in the atmosphere. They are beyond them. Kim avari va kuhakasya sharman. Kim means whence or when. Avari means cover. Avara is avaranam. Avara is a cover. Va means holding. Kuha, where. Kasya, whose, or whoever it is. Sharman means shelter, protection, comfort. There are different meanings for it. So that is the third quarter. And the fourth quarter is Amba Kim Asid Gahanam Gabiram. Amba means can be mother, celestial waters, power, fruitfulness. There are many meanings to it. Kim, what or how, whence, wherefore, why, all those meanings are available for Kim. Asid means existed again. Gahanam means deep, dense, thick, impervious, impenetrable, inexplicable, hard to be understood. So Gahanam means it is thick mass, or as if it is a thick mass. Gabiram is a mystery, actually speaking. Gabiram means a mystery, or In other words, there is also called hell or abyss, deep sounding abyss, where the depths is as good as the darkness of hell. So these are the literal word meanings of it. So when you arrange it in the prose order, it becomes Tadanim asat na asid, sat na asid. Tadanim means then, when the creation was in a state of dissolution, is what Sayanacharya has mentioned there. Asat na asid. The non-existence did not exist. Asat, asid, both are converted as dhatu. As dhatu means to exist or be. So when you look at it, non-existence did not exist, nor did existence exist. Rajaha means log or field of experiences. Rajaha na asid. Neither did the world, the fields of experience, because there was nobody to experience. It was not there. Vyomaha yat paraha. In the interval, the world of experiences existed for him, and they were all in the intervening spaces, antariksha. Antariksha is normally outside the sky is considered, but Bahyantariksha, Andarantariksha, there is intervening space of the heart also is considered as an Antariksha when it is coming to inner experiences. So these two are the sorry. Did I break? Okay.
Just for a second, yeah.
Okay. Because there was an internet breakdown. So okay. So the intervening spaces are not available for experience. Yat paraha, which is beyond the heavens up or beyond that what is to be considered. Na kim avariva kuhakasya sharman. Indeed, there was what to talk about the cover or the covering of the worlds which were otherwise experiencing world. Were they a covering for them? Because nothing is there. Kasya Sharman, for whose joys and sorrows did this covering come up later when the creation came up? They were not there before the creation, which was extremely dense and unfathomable, as if in the waters, as if in a deep ocean. So one can see that this Amba was referred even in the Aitreya Upanishad as a field of experience when the Adi Daivika creation was referred in the Aitreya Upanishad when we did that. So what does the Sayanacharya's meaning says is that when the creation was in a state of dissolution, there was neither non-existence nor existence. There were no lokas or fields of experience. There was no intervening space or heavens or whatsoever. What to speak about the coverings or elemental coverings of the Brahmandas or the different world? Brahmanda means is the whole cosmos. That too did not exist because the cosmos itself did not exist. Where was the place for those coverings to abide? These Brahmanda to exist or the cosmos to exist and give rise to different experiential world. Where did they exist, or were they available? And for whose joys and sorrows could there be coverings? in the absence of any creation, in neither as individuals nor devas or Brahma or cosmos. In the state of dissolution, absolutely there was extremely dense, as if it is a unfathomable water. We cannot say it was water or it. Now, in some of the commentaries, they have used the word Amba as mother. So in the womb of creation, it was pitch dark. There was neither existence, because the existence did not come at the same time, nor did it is, you can say it is non-existence. So, and then what was the covering? The covering was what was talked about, that in the second chapter of Aitreya Upanishad, that embryo in the womb of the mother. Was that covering that? Did that exist? Or what was the state before creation? That is, before you become an embryo, or before the cosmos became an embryo, before creation, what could have been the state under which it is? So now if you look at it, the second chapter, 16th mantra, Krishna says, sloka, Krishna says that, Nasado vidyate bhavo na bhavo vidyate sat. What does it say? The Sat can never become a non-existent thing. And never can the non-existence become Sat. Then why did the Upanishad say that Sadeva Saumya Ida Agra Asit? Sat alone existed in the beginning. Agre means before creation. Even here in the Aitreya Upanishad, we saw that Atmava idam eva aveka agre asit. Again, the word agre came there also. So here in Aitreya Upanishad, it talks about Atma. In the Chandogya Upanishad, it talks about Sat. So, if Sat did not exist, how can something of Sat come as creation when it did not exist? With only from Sat, you can get another Sat. From existence, you get another existence. The name and form can change, but there need to be something existing from which another existence can come out. Here we are saying that Sat did not exist. Nor then the question of does it mean that it was in the form of non-existence from which Sat? From non-existence, Sat cannot come. From non-existence, nothing can come. Sunyata. Non-existence is virtually Sunyata. There is nothing called Sunyata. Even that's a different item, different thing for debating. But even from Asat, Sat cannot come. And from Sat only Sat can come. But before creation, Sat was also not there. Na asid. Sat na asid. Sat also did not exist. Then what does he say? It was extremely dense and unfathomable, like hell or water. Darkness. Pitch darkness. See, if you go to the bottom of the ocean or bottom of the, sea, it is pitch dark because light cannot penetrate there. Even though water is, light can penetrate, but light cannot penetrate beyond a level because the light loses its potency and it is pitch darkness at the bottom of the ocean. So he is referring here that as the reference, as an example. Was it extremely dense like a hell or a deep water, deep unfathomable water? So what was the state of can't call existence. The before creation, what was the form or what is the state when the Rishi was thinking about in his mind when he chanted this mantra? It is for us to think that what was my state before my creation of Jagrat and Sopnam, or the waking and the dream started appearing to me. Did I exist? Was existence there? Was it non-existence? Till now we learned that we were in the form of Sat. That is what Chandogya Upanishad said. Sadi sambadhya na viduhu sadi sambadhyamahe. We were in the form of Sat in the deep sleep. But really looking into the experience of all of us, did we know that we existed in the deep sleep? The Jagrat, the waking person, refers it as existence. But what was our experience, ourselves, in the deep sleep? We couldn't say that it was existence because we knew nothing. To know something, we need to know that we existed. When nothing was known, our existence also is unknown to us. So whether that is the condition what the Rishi is referring to here, nobody knows. What is that the Rishi wants us to think about? Is he talking about the creation of the world, which means which is my Jagrat and Sushupti is my world? And the day and night, it is coming in the coming mantras in the future, the following mantras, it is talking about the day and night. So even before the day and night and all those things, what is my condition? Did I exist? These are the things which one need to meditate upon within deep intellectual understanding, but beyond the intellect, there is a feeling within as life, pulsating life, we have experiences within ourselves. Don't call it as a human being or a live human being. No name should be used. Because the moment you use a name and a form, you are crystallizing creation. Don't crystallize creation. Before that, what is the state? The scientist refers it as Big Bang. Now, Big Bang, what was the state before Big Bang? Science cannot say that. They can only talk about Big Bang, and after that time and space came up. And in the space, the Big Bang further expanded to become universe. And this is an ever-expanding universe. It has an implosion back into what the rishis are talking about, the expansion, explosion and implosion. Bringing back everything into dissolution to the state prior to the Big Bang. Does it happen, or does such a phenomenon happen in the world where the whole world collapses? We have seen the stars exploding and becoming dust and forming what they call it as galaxy of dust or spinning dust. And when they pass through the black hole, the dust is becoming invisible and they collapse. Do not know where they have vanished. These are all phenomena we have observed in the universe with telescope and the Hubble telescope or the outer space and all those. Is the rishis talking about them? Did they see that in their vision, or did they have special powers to see that happening in the universe? Why is he using these words? Which is intriguing, because one side he said Nasadasit, then other side he said Na Asadasit. He's contradicting both the statements. Neither did the Sat exist nor the Sasat exist. And then he is saying that for Kasya, Kuha Karma Sharman, Gahanam Gabiram Amba Asid, Imasid. All those things are intriguing to ordinary mind. Therefore, this is normally not taught anywhere. Because somebody wants to learn this, it should be understandable, meaning should be clear, and it should matter to the person who is listening in the day-to-day life. These 7 mantras doesn't make any sense to such a person. It is purely esoterical in nature, one who has an intuitive power beyond the ordinary powers, the 6th or 7th sense which we can call it as. Only such a person can delve deep into these meanings of these verbs. So, this being the first mantra, I am not going to even give a suggestion as to what it should be. Each one of us should be able to do that in our own bosom and find out how it matters to you. The Griffith in his translation, he has mentioned, then was not non-existent nor existent. There was no realm of air, no sky beyond it. What covered in and were, and what gave shelter? Was water there? Unfathomed depth of water? This is the translation by Griffith. That's one of the first translators into English. Okay. Now, I will do this. I think I can do the second mantra. It's already 9:18. I'll take the next mantra in the next class. That will be better because I won't be able to complete it in 20, 30 minutes. So that is, we will take the second mantra in the next class, but maybe more than 1 or 2 mantras we can do that. I don't want to rush through and, do a injustice to the Nasadeeya Suktam. So I will stop here by chanting the mantra again once more. Then we can chant. Nasadeeya
देवा अस्य विसर्जनाय अथाको वेदयत बभूव इयं विसृष्टिर्यत बभूव यदि वादते यदि वारा यो अस्याध्यक्ष परमे व्योमन् सो अङ्गवेदयति मानवेद ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः
ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ओम् श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ओम् थैंक यू धन्यवाद
Thank you so much, Bindaji. Yeah, very, very beautiful to be part of this class. So the chat is open if people want to participate that way, and we've just opened hand raising, and anyone is welcome to come up to discuss. Let's try to mostly stay with what Abindo has shared today, knowing that we'll have question and answers in the future.
yes Patrick
I think it was Karen who came up, Bindo, unless you want me to say something.
I just want to know whether you have something to say. Then we'll go to Karin, Venkat, and Shivani. Like that, we'll go.
I think the most intelligent thing to say at this point is just to let it unfold. There's obviously great significance, so that's I think all I'll say for now.
Okay,
Great,
thank
Karen.
you.
Yeah, Karen.
I'm trying to unmic every time, and every time it goes to my settings. But I'm finally unmiked. Namaste, everyone. Namaste, Bindoji.
Namaste. Namaste.
That was really, really profound. And discussion, I don't think it's even possible about this, because it is so metaphysical from my point of view anyway. But now the way I'm seeing those things, it does make a lot more sense, because you only can see it from your own perspective, because you cannot generalize this part in no way, shape, or form. You can adopt a point of view, but to really see it, it really needs to be from one's own point. Thank you so much for sharing this. It was really profound.
Thank you, Karan.
Yeah, Venkat.
Yes, Benji, I think this is no coincidence. We are discussing Nasadeeya Suktam today. Today is Kala Ratri. This is for Kali. It's even the night for the time. Space and time. Kali is trampling both. That's why I just visited the temple coming back. Kala Ratri. This is not even Sukta, not for even intellectual deciphering. For a reason, the dark water we talked about is unwinding, in one own self. The creation, before creation, the day today is to go beyond even perceived senses, launch into that darkness. Kali is one. Cut that ego, even doing the contemplation. Ego try to, taking various shapes. That also getting cut. Kali is cutting that neck. The darkness, Binduji, is a dark matter, dark energy. Science has gone now into that level now, because even before those, subatomic level, it has hit the dark energy already, and try to analyze it now. The darkness is eventuality for a spiritual seeker. Try to eliminate everything, eventually find nothing, the darkness. So, Nasadeeya Sukta seems like it is, while Upanishad is, end of knowledge, Nasadeeya Sukta is before knowledge. So one need to launch into the feeling, as you said, meditate on the feeling, into one's own darkness first. I think it is eventuality. And today's, I'll just stop it here, Binduji. This is Kalaratri.
Thank you, Venkat. Shiva.
If I might, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say before we move on, I just wanted to say, Venkat, I loved what you said. But when you said that this was before knowledge, with the Upanishads being the end of knowledge, I would say what we're speaking about today was before, during, and after knowledge. But everything else, I absolutely loved what you said. Yeah, if that is,
Shivani.
is that Shivani?
Yeah, it's me. Binduji, finally, always, you are such a blessing. And today, finally, there is a text where I have shared my, see, if I call it experience, people think it's a field of experience. And I've been telling, I'm not talking about experience per se, but this thing, exactly what Nasadeeya Sukta is talking about, I totally get it, because that's exactly what, if I call it, see, I don't have a choice but to call it experience. But it is not experience. It cannot be called as an experience, because it is beyond the experience. It is where, that Sat also doesn't exist and non-Sat also doesn't exist, But right now, what can I say but to say that I know what this is and I've experienced it. Because finally there is a text which talks about it. Finally, there is a text which talks about it, And today, because of you, I came to know about this text. So thank you so much, Binduji. And yeah. And what Venkat also said, Venkat sir also said, yes, totally. I get it, Venkat sir. And Kal Ratri, and today this text, and today everything. What Artemisia said, it is before, it is right now, and it will always be. So, yeah, thank you so much. It's the highest culmination for me for now.
Thank you, Shivani. Srini.
Namaste, Vidyaji. I think today I understood why you took this after Aitareya Upanishad, because what the first mantra of this sutta and the first mantra of Aitareya are exactly pointing towards the notion of existence that we start our journey with, kind of thing. So I understand the how that is taken for granted, and so it's a perfect continuation to Prajnanam Brahma, I felt. So beautiful. This connection is actually very good. Like, I never knew that there is so much connection between these two things. So thanks.
This has also connection with the next one, Taittiriya. When you come to that time I'll link it properly.
Yeah, beautiful.
Hari Om Neti.
Hariom Bindu. I just came up to say thank you. I came in today, as you know, because Nasadeeya Suktam is so very dear to me. It was my introduction to the Vedas when I was in the 8th grade through a translation of Swami Vivekananda. Almost an initiation. The impact has kept me cruising, let's say. And later in TMP's book, which we all shared at Sandeepni, a translation by Mr. Moore, if I remember his name rightly. I'm really touched by your humility of not giving an absolute meaning or perspective to this very mysterious hymn, which has baffled many scholars and as well as great scientists who are just like one Hindi guru says, lattu hain. So I'm also really, I share the same sparsha that the recitation of the hymn, which he played in the beginning, brought in me as well, affirming that though this is not considered an Upanishad by classical scholars who have done this great division of what they consider their source book, the Vedas, one portion as Karma Kanda and the other as Jnana Kanda. And those scholars and analytical minds who have resorted heavily to the lexicon of Yashka and Sayana, but that they have huge imperfections has been pointed out in their own work by my guru, Sri Aurobindo, and this only affirms the 1,000 interpretations it may have, but a Vedic Sukta remains a mystery. And you so very rightly said, we need to be blessed by the sacred drishti and shruti which the rishis had as a faculty, praying that we all rise to that level. Thank you, Bindu.
Thank you, Nitya.
Nitya, I'm so glad you're here. I was hoping that you'd come. And, I think this about the uninterpretability or the actually wrong direction in trying too hard with any kind of rationality. I don't know if you'd like to, and if you would prefer to be quiet on what I'm going to ask, it's fine. But the comment that you put in the chat, I felt like this is so important in my limited view and my limited understanding, is that to not impose any kind of metaphysics on this at all. It's really purely mystical. And I don't know that even that Karen, I think she would probably agree, but for us to understand how those words are used and what you were saying there, would you be able to just honor the mystical side a little more with saying a drop?
Well, I have listened to commentaries from the Shankara Sampradaya, the Shankara Matswamis, and they give a totally Advaitic perspective, which is right. It is just a perspective. But you cannot superimpose an intellectual, analytical perspective on a Vedic Sukta, which has not even discovered the words Atman and Brahman, which are later concepts. The words for the absolute which were used in the Vedas were Sadhana Sat. And I found the real meaning of this, which was always a mysterious thing, only in the words of Sri Aurobindo, who was a mystic, who considered the Upanishads and the Gita the ultimate. But when his rishi-like faculties developed, his interpretation of the entire scriptures changed. So I don't think, Binduji quoted from the Gita. There's another verse in Bhagavad Gita which says, Nasan nuchyate. Anadi matparam Brahma, Bindu, correct me, Nasan uchyate. San Nasan uchyate. So there also, Krishna says, I'm beyond Sat and Asat. Because I think, for me, from my mystical perceptions of things and the verses in the books. The scripture has to speak to me. Only the scholars and the bhashyas guide me to a point. After that, it has to become my reality, my intuitive perception of it. And there I've come, these doubts I keep asking Binduji was there this word Brahman, Atman in the Vedas? 1. 2, consciousness. Why do we mix up two words, awareness and consciousness, when we speak in English? There's no equivalent to the word Chaitanyam. So these are all mystical aspects. And unless you live it, like Binduji often says, Swamshikaranam, Swamshikaranam. Unless we start living it, not just an additional baggage of thoughts in our head, we cannot frame the Upanishads nor the Vedas. I'm at a point in my life where the mystical Upanishads have been mauled by the Bhashyas. Because the Upanishads, I was telling Bindu the other day, let's try doing the Mandukya Upanishad without the Bhashya and the Karikas. With that much Sanskrit that we know. Does it absolutely say this is it? No. It just guides and leaves itself open to unfold itself in us. Those intuitions or thoughts, deep, profound, I wouldn't say thoughts, I won't even call it ideas, because then it again becomes within the frame of the mind. The Upanishads repeatedly tells us, Yato vacho nivartante aprapya manasasaha, or natarkena apane manushya. Things like that. So therefore, I don't think I would like to impose my mind, this small mind, on any of these great wisdom books. What we have got is but the remains of a great sophisticated civilization which was before us. And to apply a mind which is more or less prana antargata manaha to this is not acceptable to me at all. Thank you, Artemisia.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm so happy listening to you. To build on what you said, and then maybe Bindu or others want to comment on this. I noticed in reading the full English translation of the first verse how it ends with quite a few questions, and I've felt for a long time, for many years, that on the path of self-knowledge or just even knowing what self is, even get rid of the word knowledge because it can confuse people, that asking the questions, that's the way in. And there's questions for sure, which there's never going to be any kind of rational or linguistic answer for. But we can know when we have touched the answer. And I felt like that related in a way to what you said. I love what you said about the idea of going through the Mandukya again, if we ever had a chance, or, maybe you and Bindu will, but I mean with some of the rest of us too. I wanted to point out, and correct me if I'm wrong, Bindu, because I was just trying to scroll through the document that's above. And I really recommend people don't just really use that document. It's especially beautiful. It's the first and the seventh verses that end with a bunch of questions. I mean, the seventh is the last verse, but the skill and the trueness of asking questions as opposed to having the answers. On a very simple level, it makes me think of Nididhyasana, but I mean, on a very deep level, like Nitya, I think, was saying, this is purely mystical. It's not in the realm of any kind of philosophy at all. But thank you so much. I'm so glad you're here. Bindu, could you comment back to me about the fact of the questions? Because I don't know in Sanskrit whether those questions are questions or that's just the best English way to get to what they're doing.
They are questions indeed, but more of a question one is asking oneself rather than asking somebody else. See, there is two ways of clarification of doubt you can ask by somebody else and you get a clarification. Here is not a clarification somebody else can give. It has to get answered within yourself. What the Chandogya Upanishad says, Vidyade Hridaya Grandhi Chidyande Sarva Samshaya Hiyande Karmani Tasmin drishte paravare. So that mantra of the 7th chapter where Narada was, when he realizes what happens to him from the Chandogya Upanishad, Vidyate Hridaya Grandhi, all knots in the heart is broken. The heart is no more bound by any notion, condition, names, forms, any sort of thing. You can't call it as a heart at all. It is breaking all barriers. And that gives a freedom of what? Freedom of knowledge, which is sarva samshaya, siddhyande sarva samshaya. All doubts. Sarva samshaya means all doubts. Siddhyande means is scattered and broken and shattered into pieces, so that nothing remains to bind the knowledge again, that in the form of any doubt that can remain there. And that, Shriyande Chasya Karmani, all the karmas which he was doing otherwise till then, thinking that karmas are important, because this particular Nasadeeya Suktam is in the Karma Kanda of the Rig Veda. And it is in between the karma, while doing the karma in the Vishwa Vedas, Vishwadevas, the Rishi is talking about these 7 mantras. So you can imagine, in between doing a karma and not even entering a meditation or upasana there, straight away he asks these questions about the creation. So you can imagine in what mentality that Rishi was there at that point of time when he uttered these mantras. We can't even imagine what was his mental condition or this thing. Doing karmas and that Shriyande Chasya Karmani, that is the time when he abandons the karmas. He stops the karmas and asks this question, Tasmin drishte paravare. That is the time when he sees that paravara means the one which is beyond all those things. Sat and Asat, Sat Asat, beyond Sat and Asat, beyond creation, before creation. There, any name and form comes into existence after creation. This is before that. So no nomenclature, nothing can be used to pinpoint or even show toward that direction. My heart was racing when I started the class because I know I was literally scared to even touch the sukta when I started it. But I thought that I will depend upon the Sayana Sutra and, the commentary given by that as my, the only anchor with which I will start the class, so that I am not deviating from what my predecessors, have been giving to the world, and I will tread the same path. But prompt all of you to go beyond that, using this as the oar in the boat of life to cross over the ocean and reach the destination.
Yes, and in my experience, all the questions, the ultimate answers in spirituality are inside and questions for ourselves. I do want to say, because you are being very humble, and I understand that in presenting it again, but for myself, and I believe others, to actually be in a discussion and hearing this with your voice, and even if you can't speak it, picking up your recognition of it, it makes a huge difference. Just that it's coming from you. So Hari Om, and thank you for that. We're at a beautiful place. Should we just close and go and reflect, or would anyone? Yeah, okay.
I think we should stop, and next Friday we'll continue the remaining mantras. Maybe the week after that also may be there. I don't know. I just can't predict how many days I'm going to do that.
It's beautiful.
Let us do justice to it. That's all.
Yes. So what
Thank
we're
you,
saying
Hariom.
is two
Yeah.
days from now, day after tomorrow, we'll continue here with the second meeting for Nasadeeya Sukta. Again, in the Dropbox, everybody, you don't have to have the app. You can migrate through and get the document that Bindo created. Hariam Bindo, unless you want to say anything else.
No, Hariom, and thank you all. Meet on Friday. Thank you all.
Hariom, Milady. Good night.
Thank you. Hariom, good night.